Hey loves, it's Janelle, the relationship coach behind the successful invisible, and I'm here with another episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. And we're doing a second part to the fact that men baby trap women. So in this episode, let's talk about the role playing man. The man who performs boyfriend, performs future husband, performs perfect partner, but only long enough to secure access to you. We're seeing this pattern everywhere, from everyday dating situations to high profile stories like Keke Palmer and her child's father, where charm, consistency, and meeting the parents were part of the performance until the mask came off. In this video, I'm breaking down how some men use emotional intimacy, future talk, trips, sleepovers, and even pregnancy to create a sense of commitment they never intended to honor. If you've ever felt confused by a man who acted like your partner but refused to be your partner, this is your clarity moment. Grab your notebook. Today we're learning how to spot the role players before they rewrite your entire life story.
Hey, I don't know who needs to hear this, but just because we vibing, raw, going on dates, taking trips, meeting each other parents, talking about kids and futures and marriage and falling asleep with each other on the phone, spending the night, spending night bags, vibing, making up nicknames and don't mean we together, stink. Just vibe, twin, just vibe.
When I talk about men that trap women, these are the type of men that I'm talking about. These are the type of men that will come into a woman's life, play a role, play a position, play a part, win mom over, win dad over, only to end up being a scumbag like this. And we got to talk about it because we have men out here that cause broken homes, create broken homes just like this from this type of behavior. And the reason why this is important to talk about, because fellas, this is why a lot of you are broken. This is why a lot of you don't know yourself. You don't have an identity. You don't understand masculinity because a lot of you had fathers that did this to your mother. When they found out your mom was pregnant, they got out of the picture. This is why some of you are broken. So I get it. You want to see the best in men. You want to give men the benefit of the doubt. But in the whole grand scheme reality, we have a lot of scumbag, sorry men out here just like this. And it's time to start putting that energy to rid our communities from men that think this way, from men that operate like this. If you care to protect your sister, to protect your daughter, to protect your niece, the women in your family that you care about, they have to be aware of men out here that exist like this. Stop acting like y'all don't know what these women are talking about when they're sharing their stories and how they don't understand how some of these men just changed overnight, because they will play a role for a certain time period only to be like this in the end.
Ladies, I'm going to be real with y'all. If you have ever been with a man or talking to a man and he says anything along the lines of, oh, I'm going to put a baby in you, or I'm going to give you a child, you better run far away, because I'm going to tell you, he is threatening you. This is a trap. This is how men get women to stay in these long relationships. And this is where, these type of men will tie you down. And they don't even be as attractive to you, but they will tie you down and make sure no other man tries to get into your life or anything like that because he has that baby with you. Men do this all the time, and it's the most sickening thing to me. Because how are you going to threaten her and give her a baby and all this other stuff because you're selfish or any of these things? This is how the possessive, manipulative, narcissistic men start, by saying things like this. And I'm going to tell you that this is far from a compliment, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a guy that's not even attracted to you. And then not only that, the harsh reality is guys will say things like this because they know how other guys treat women with babies or any of that sort, because they don't want to take that burden on of having another guy's child in their life. But that's just how it is. But y'all stay safe.
That's why men make women their baby mothers, so they can have full access to that woman without no title or effort. Let me tell you this right now. I'm not even trying to argue against this. There is no lie in that comment at all. And I think that's the wildest thing in the world. Some men seriously trap some of these women, especially in those younger years when they're super cute, super attractive. They getting all this attention. They seriously go out there and be like, you know what, I'm going to get her pregnant so I can always have access to her. It's a wild world we live in. And let's be honest, fellas, we be talking about how women try to trap us, especially if we got some money or if we got things going for ourselves. We'll be like, oh, she did this, she did that. She know I didn't want to have a kid, blah, 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 blah. But fellas, we be on the same thing. Some of y'all seriously be on a menace type of time. And the crazy part is you really don't be thinking about it. I don't know what be going through y'all mind because there ain't no way. Ain't no kitty cat in the world good enough for me to say, you know what? I'm going to sit up here and reproduce with this woman so I can have access to her for the rest of my life. Ain't no way.
I know we like to joke and be like, oh, everybody having babies. But on another note, I'm not going to sit and lie as a man. A lot of y'all girls be getting trapped. Not going to hold you. Like me and the bros talking about this really yesterday. Like a guy would see a girl got their stuff together, got all this potential, and then they want to lock that down. It's like they're trying to conquer or possess you. And the reason why a lot of y'all get trapped, I call it the mouse trap. Y'all are too focused on the cheese and get trapped. And what's the cheese? Money. Certain lifestyles. Like we are so hyper fixated on a man being able to provide that y'all see somebody that appears like they have money and then y'all give them the time of day or y'all invest all your interest in them and then you get caught up in a relationship with somebody that's not good for y'all. And just like a mouse, when they go for the cheese, they get trapped. And a lot of these dudes, you're more likely to see a woman with her stuff together than a guy because statistically, especially black women, they're the most educated demographic in America. Most of these girls got their stuff together. These dudes really don't. Like they might look fly, but they can't fly nowhere. They don't got nothing. And that's why a lot of girls you see, they be so surprised when like the dude wants something to do with them after they're pregnant or when they have the baby. It's because it was never about having a baby out of love. It was about locking you down. They conquered the thing. They conquered the woman that was unattainable or that had her stuff together or that, you know what I'm saying, was on a peak or on a rise. It's actually sick. I ain't gonna lie, it's really sick. And you always see it with usually like the flyest or the best looking girls too. Like, think about it. The girls in high school that were the most popular, they were bad. The older guys always tried to talk to them. Most of them end up having kids because they got trapped and locked down. You see it all the time when somebody is bad or they got their stuff together, they will lock you down. I'm not gonna lie, y'all gotta stop getting trapped. Not everything that glitters is gold. And just because he got money, don't mean he won't fold. I'm trying to tell y'all. And even then, we always talk about how men get trapped with babies, but I'm not gonna lie. I really feel like girls be getting trapped with babies more than men. Not gonna sit here and lie to you. Because girls do it too, but so do these guys. Do not let these dudes lie to y'all. Y'all be getting trapped.
Guys, think about how crazy this is. When a dude traps you with a baby, he's not only saying you are obligated to this relationship in some way, shape, or form. He's saying you have to be a mother to my child and you're somehow obligated to be a mother to me as well because I know I can't take care of myself. Because if I could, I wouldn't need to obligate somebody to be in a relationship with me to reinforce my inability to do that. And before the guys go ahead and drop in the comments acting crazy, acting, women do it too, women do it too. Yeah, women definitely do it too. But patriarchy creates a system where women are forced to marry and connect themselves to a man for their own survival or sustenance of their lives. We are just coming into a period where women are able to build for themselves and create through their own conscious will. Not that it hasn't always been like that, but because society is just starting to recognize that after completely demonizing free women. So yes, this conversation is more heavily focused on the men. And yes, when you do look at this conversation with some depth, finally, you can see that men also find ways to depend on women, but then flip the script to make them look like some kind of rebellious, confident like playboy or some just like an identity that validates you being some traumatizing asshole and stopping you from taking the accountability that you need to take. So maybe if you can't make anybody's life better, you could at least just be a good human being.
So, if your ex is a narcissist or a toxic person, they're 100% trying to trap you with a baby. Because if you allow your ex back into your life without any kind of consistent change behavior, and you allow them to get you pregnant or get pregnant by you, then you are 100% falling into a narcissistic trap. Because if you get a narcissist pregnant or you get pregnant by a narcissist, they're going to be in your life for the rest of your life. This is not just an 18-year deal. I think people think you have a deal with you have to co-parent for 18 years. It's the rest of your life, y'all. Because that kid is going to grow up and have kids of their own. You're going to split time, grandkids and stuff like that. You have to co-grandparent with a narcissistic person. So the choices you make in your youth, in your teenage years or your early adult years or your later adult years by having baby by toxic people, you have to deal with for the rest of your life. So if you haven't had any kids by this toxic person, do not, please. Because if you do, they're going to trap you for the rest of your life. So people baby trap you to make sure that they stay involved or have access to your life for damn near forever, pretty much. Damn near a tale as old as time, isn't it? Just like, well, we're about to break up. Hey, let's do it one more time for the road, all right? And then there's a baby on the way all of a sudden. And now that person feels like they have access to you for the rest of your life. Sometimes people will suggest having a baby to fix a relationship, which is absolutely insane. Like, if y'all are struggling to communicate, if you're struggling spending time together, if you're struggling just in general, adding a baby or twins or triplets will not help your relationship. Like, we're going to love this little bundle of joy together. That doesn't work right there, y'all. I promise you. It actually makes you go. It can actually make you grow apart. I can't even talk straight. I'm getting so flustered. Not all narcissistic people will try to baby trap you, but there are a lot of them will, y'all. I'm just telling you. I've talked to a lot of people who are on the verge of escaping narcissistic relationships, and all of a sudden they found out they were pregnant, or they send a text message from their narcissistic partner saying, "We're pregnant. Guess what? You ain't going nowhere. Gotcha." You see what I'm saying? This is my advice to anybody out there right now. If you don't have a baby with a narcissistic person, if you're watching my videos thinking your partner might be a narcissist, the inkling of the thought that they might be narcissistic, don't have a baby with it. I'm just telling you, it just makes your life so much harder. It just does, y'all.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. So you saw all of the TikTok clips from men's perspective about men baby trapping women. So this isn't hearsay. This is really what's going on. And I wanted to use celebrities to exhibit a couple points that I really think are important to drive home from this phenomena. And because most of us follow Celebrity T on social media, I don't know these people personally, of course, but these are things that we've seen come out, and I am going to use the case of Keke Palmer and her child's father, Darius Jackson. So, point number one, strategic love bombing under fame or success can be just as dangerous. So in public, Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson once presented themselves as a loving couple. They welcomed their son, Leotis Jackson, in February of 2023 and celebrated early parenthood together. And it looked really great. You know, it looked like she was happy. It looked like he was excited to be a part of her life and that their little family. But behind the glamour, the relationship deteriorated. By late 2023, Keke publicly filed for a restraining order, citing alleged domestic and emotional abuse, exposing how early charm and apparent compatibility can mask deep dysfunction and jealousy. So a takeaway that I want anyone to understand from this is whether you're high profile or you're a regular everyday person just going to work and, living your life, treat public displays and early charm with caution. Men who do that oftentimes are doing so with motives. And it can be a very dangerous game that they are playing, and they can be a very good manipulator. So consistent integrity over time matters more than an attractive facade. And that is why it is important to move at a very mindful pace when you are getting to know someone. This is not about, don't sleep with somebody on the first night. You can do that. I would advise against it for a couple of reasons, safety being the first one. But It is, you need to understand who this person is and how they move through watching them over a consistent and sustained period of time to see who they are. Point number 2, parenthood plus public persona equals high stakes for women who trust too fast. So many of us saw Keke and Darius's baby as a symbol of stability and future. But within months, the same relationship just spiraled out. You know what I mean? Showing that becoming a parent doesn't guarantee long term emotional or moral commitment. The stress of parenthood and the public scrutiny and the lack of stability led to a toxic dynamic, showing how good on paper, job, looks, baby, social cloud, doesn't always equal safety or respect. And if y'all recall, when she went to that Usher concert, once she had the baby and she was out the spotlight for a few months, it was like her first time stepping out with her friends in a long time. She wore this gorgeous dress to an Usher concert. I think it was in Vegas when he was in residency, and her baby's dad is commenting all this stuff on social media, trying to send hate her way, and a lot of men were coming at her because of that. And that was a very high stakes game and a very precarious position that she was in. So it's important that when I work with clients, they understand that having a child with a man doesn't bind someone to you. And especially not like morally, it just makes the stakes higher. So because she was bound to Darius through the child that they had, she now had to think about how to move differently and worry about how he was using her doing something totally innocent and normal and aligned with her tax status that she can do, and he weaponized it. So a child should not come from, stability and character, not from an attempt to secure you. Like the let me phrase it: a child should come from stability and character. He does not have good character, and he knew that he could take a woman who had a lot going on and was very much in a public eye down through now this channel and connection of parenthood that they had together. Point number 3, when good behavior ends, real behavior begins. And I think that is so important. Keke Palmer and Darius, like when their relationship started, she's hugged up, she's cheesed up with this dude. And it appeared that he was good behavior. He was doing his thing. I still don't know what that man does for work, but she liked him. So it appeared good. But I understand to take that with a grain of salt, especially when his income was not verifiable like hers was. Okay. So, but once the relationship began to strain, the same partner who once appeared loving allegedly turned controlling and abusive. This is very common, especially when you have a breadwinner as a woman, demonstrating how some men perform a good partner role only until loyalty or access is secured. So once he thought he had her, he really started acting a fool. We'll come to find out he had done some other things prior to them having a child, but she was trying to play it off. And this role playing that Darius did often included, just showing up in certain ways that weren't genuine for him. So he made her a mom and he's a dad now, and making a show of affection and promising future plans, all the things he did before they were parents. These are all tools used to build attachment. But when pressure mounts, the mask can slip. So once the attachment was secured from his end, and she's pregnant, she has this baby, and she loves this baby, he still didn't have quite the access or the control that he wanted. And that was his whole point. And the relationship really went sideways. And we saw some social media clips of, like, I think she had a camera in her house and him kind of dragging her up the stairs and some very physically violent things. So a point that I always encourage my clients to remember is to look beyond the performance. Note behaviors during adversity, financial stress, external pressure, not just during the honeymoon or glory phases. Pay attention to how a man moves and what a man says when he's mad at you, when you two are having a disagreement or a fight, because that's who he is. If he can't control his emotions, if he can't control his hands, if he's trying to get physical, get loud, do not ignore that. These are all things that I feel, and this is not from a point of blame, this is from a point of observation, that Keke Palmer ignored many of these signs in Darius when she first observed them, because I think she is an intelligent woman, but she ignored those things because she was so busy trying to continue to pivot to how things felt in the honeymoon phase and the good phases, etc. And she really wanted this ideal family with this man because he looked a certain way, light skin with curly hair. Point number 4, Access plus co-parenting can equal a lifetime of complicated power dynamics. So after their breakup, Keke and Darius agreed to co-parent their son, which means despite legal separation, there remains shared responsibility and contact. This is a reality many women don't anticipate, and co-parenting with someone who never intended to commit can keep them like emotionally, financially, and psychologically entangled, especially if that person has weak boundaries, which I believe Keke Palmer does not have strong boundaries with Darius. And it causes her to me always be a little bit off kilter. It is important to know that this power dynamic is further complicated when the woman is the breadwinner, because he wants a certain amount of power, Darius does, in the relationship, but he can't have it because he doesn't have the money. He who makes the gold makes the rules. That is the golden rule. He has no gold in comparison to Keke, but he knew he was punching above his pay grade or shooting above his pay grade when he got with her. But now that's angering because he has no control. He needs the money. You know what I mean? So the mess that he stirs up is it's limited, but it can be very damaging. So a point that's important for my clients to consider is stress. It is important that you understand to have strong boundaries, legal clarity, and self-protection before deciding on children with anybody, especially with men who show red flags early and men who are not as financially stable and or abundant as you. It's important. Money matters. I don't care what people tell you. Money matters. It is important in a relationship. We're grown. Things cost money, and we live in a capitalistic society. Any man who says money doesn't matter is lying to you. It's a manipulation tactic. Okay, because only thing he means is he wants to get access to your money because he don't have his own. Because a man with his own money would never say that. Then point number 5, self-worth, awareness, and boundaries are non-negotiable, not romance or glamour. And reflecting on her experience, Keke Palmer has spoken about how fame, social pressure, and hope for a stable family clouded her judgment about Darius, showing how vulnerability can be exploited when self-worth is compromised. That is so important. Her story shows that love bombing or social validation doesn't substitute for emotional maturity, mutual respect, and consistent integrity, the real foundations of healthy relationships. So a takeaway for my clients is build self-worth first. And I always say this, do not date with low self-esteem. If you are in a season of your life where you're not feeling the best about yourself, please take yourself out the group chat for a while and go heal. Go work with a coach, go work with a therapist, go to the gym, go whatever you need to do, go to a guru and work on you first. It is important for you to trust your instincts and frame love and attraction as secondary to character. You need to feel empowered to reject men, and especially you really need to have the discernment to easily identify and reject role-playing men, no matter how charming or accomplished he is. Pay attention to men who are very charming. It is likely a very obvious attempt that he is trying to manipulate you. So let me know your thoughts on this. Drop your comments below and let me know what you think about this situation, because I think Keke Palmer's situation is a great example of how men baby trap women. And that's the lesson, sis. Men who perform commitment but avoid responsibility are not confused. They are strategic. They study what you want, mirror it back to you, and use that performance to secure access to your body, your stability, your time, your money. Look at Keke Palmer, and in too many cases, your womb. But your clarity is your protection. When you see the pattern early, you can choose differently and choose yourself first. If this breakdown hit home, don't just click away and go back to vibing with red flags you've been trying to ignore. Join my exclusive coaching community on Coffee, where we go deeper into pattern recognition, emotional safety, discernment, and building the kind of self-worth that keeps you from being, chosen for the wrong reasons. Remember, you have to heal in order to elevate your own habits and behaviors. Drop a comment, drop a like, share, etc., and I'll see you in the next one.